Hello, class. I'm sending you a message to go over the letter from Birmingham discussion assignment. So, for English 103, what we're really looking at are the tools that speakers use in order to present an argument. Now, Letter from Birmingham Jail is one of my favorite rhetorical pieces, and often I've thought about removing it and replacing it with something a little bit more contemporary. But considering all the things that are happening in our country today, I think that it is a good piece of argumentation for us to look at because, I realize that it's timeless. A lot of the things that Dr. King was talking about in this letter are very relevant today, especially with everything that's happening in our country. So, Letter from Birmingham Jail is something that Dr. King wrote while he was in jail for civil disobedience. And essentially, his whole piece is a response to the communities telling him that his actions or the actions of the grassroots organizations that were organizing in Alabama are quote unquote untimely, right? This is not the time for that. It made me think a little bit about the rhetoric that's being used today, for example, in terms of holding elected officials accountable, that accountability is being replaced by unity. And so then if you hold someone accountable, then that automatically makes us ununified. So just some things for you to think about in terms of what are some of the arguments and claims that are being made and how what's happened in history applies to what's happening today. So the assignment requires you to look at Letter from Birmingham Jail for its rhetorical value. Look at how Dr. King presented his argument, his claims and counterclaims, his use of literary motifs, his use of metaphor and comparisons. And so I'm going to walk you through the beginning of it just so that you can get a sense of what I'm looking for. And then moving forward, as we're evaluating pieces of argumentation, this is the route I want you to get. So, the first level is understanding and comprehension. We have to make sure that you understand what the piece of literature is about. And so that type of summary work is definitely important because I do need to know that you understand it. But what's more important is I want to make sure that you can identify different rhetorical modes or tools that Dr. King is using in this piece. So why don't we grab the reading for Letter from Birmingham Jail, and then you and I can walk through this together. So he opens up the letter by saying, "While confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling our present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom, if ever, do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. If I sought to answer all the criticisms that cross my desk, my secretaries would be engaged in little else in the course of the day. Excuse me. I would have no time for constructive work, but since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill and your criticism are sincerely set forth, I would like to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms." And so already Dr. King is talking about, I am about to present a counterclaim or counterclaims to the argument that you are making of my actions or the actions of the grassroots organization taking part of civil disobedience as unwise and untimely. He is setting up his piece as an argumentative piece, a piece of argumentation. And so he is opening up his piece by signifying or indicating that this is going to be a piece of counterclaims. So you may want, as you're reading the letter from Birmingham Jail, you may want to highlight areas throughout the letter where he is presenting a counterclaim. So a counterclaim would be, you say this, but I say this. So there's a couple of other things that I noticed in this piece is, number one, where he says, seldom do I pause to answer criticism. I actually find that kind of cheeky, right? He's like, I have more important work to do than to sit here and answer some of these things that are actually not true. But you know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, I think that, you guys are good people. So as you go on to the letter, you're going to see what he actually really thinks about these critics or these people that are saying that his activities are unwise and untimely. You'll see how he really feels when he begins to talk about some of the elected officials pulling in or advocating for very racist laws and policies. You'll see how he feels about the Christian moderate These are the people that, you know, he was hoping to unify to support the civil rights movement. But instead, they are some of his biggest critics, basically telling him that he needs to pull back. This whole argument of unity, not division, right? Which we're starting to hear today. So just to walk you through it, remember, we want to look at not just whether or not you understand and you comprehend what the topic is, what he's discussing, but more importantly, what this assignment is requiring you to do is to look at how he presents his argument. There are some critical thinking questions attached to the discussion. I don't need you to complete those. The only reason why I've uploaded those for you is to give you a sense or give you an idea of the direction I want you to be thinking about. The question that is presented to you is highlighted in bold. I hope this little lecture video helps you, and if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm here to help.